A disability certificate is a basic document that any persons with disability of over 40% can have in order to avail the various benefits, facilities, concessions that are available through the schemes under the state and the central government. Unique disability identity card is a card that is acceptable throughout the country. It is based on the information that is given in the disability certificate. So if you have that card, you are able to avail a lot of other benefits. You don't have to carry your certificate everywhere or your other documents everywhere. Everything is given in that card.
Hello everyone, welcome to India Autism Center podcast, your trusted space for meaningful conversations, scientific innovations and expert discussions in the field of autism care, neurodiversity and above all, empowerment of community. I'm your host for the session, Pooja Datta, and today we will be focusing on a very crucial topic that most families, most parents, they find frustrating, overwhelming and at times intimidating. Yes, we will be talking about the importance of disability certificate in India. And to join us in today's session, we have a clinical psychologist from Institute of Psychiatry who has expertise in this field. So welcome, Ms. Chhavi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's a privilege to have you at India Autism Center podcast. Can you please share something about your professional journey and how did it align with autism care?
All right. So I had the privilege of doing my MPhil in clinical psychology from a government hospital and then being a part of the government hospital as an employee. So I've seen a huge change in the number of patients that come to us, the awareness that is spreading. So if I have to talk about my journey, I would say that being a government hospital, we play a very crucial role in disability certification. Families come to us for assessments of their children, of their family members, and one of them is definitely autism spectrum disorder. So in my journey, I have noticed that if I have to go back to, let's say, 12, 13 years ago, when I started with my MPhil journey, that was a time when hardly anyone had any idea about disability certification. It was also something that was not regularized by the government, right? It is something that has, in the recent past, become an important, protocol for the government. So, a shift in the awareness, the amount of patients that come to us, and I feel honored to be a part of their journey. This tedious, challenging journey, how you mentioned, it's frustrating, it's intimidating. So we try to provide as much support, care through our service. And with this care and support, the children and the family get the support and they deserve and they require. So my journey would be that I'm privileged to be a part of it, to be able to help them get that disability certificate that's going to provide them with so much benefit.
So what is a disability certificate? And we often, people ask about this certificate, whether it is available or not to the children. What is it and how does it look like? And why is it so important?
Okay. Now, this is a very important question that you asked. A disability certificate is a basic document that any persons with disability of over 40% can have in order to avail the various benefits, facilities, concessions that are available through the schemes under the state and the central government. So if you have a disability certificate, all those various benefits that are being provided by the government, you will be able to avail it because you have that disability.
So if we speak about the benefits,
Yeah.
what kind of benefits?
All right. So a lot of benefits are there, and the benefits have been listed quite clearly in the website, the UDID website. So some of them are they are eligible for scholarships in various institutes as deemed by the government. They are also getting some concessions in income tax, some concessions in railway reservations. They also get some reservations in government jobs. They also have certain unemployment allowances for educated disabled persons. Also, they get free of charge transportation in their state. Also, they can also be eligible for certain loans for starting their own new business. So, like this, there are other benefits as well that an individual can get through this certification. So, this is at a more individual level. But if you are a student, there are other benefits as well, like the CBSE curriculum provides benefits to children with certain disabilities like learning disability or ADHD. A few of them are like they might be given extra time to complete their question paper. They might be allowed to sit in a different room, which is free of distractions. They might be given a reader or a writer, so as to, ease their, just answer giving protocol. So a lot of benefits are also given to the students, and the ones that I told before, those are for people who are adults.
Okay. So before we move on into our next question, please have a look at who we are.
Imagine a space designed not just to care for individuals with autism, but to empower them. A place where knowledge grows, support flourishes, and possibilities expand. This is India Autism Center. It is built to redefine how we approach autism. Through education, research, and community-driven initiatives, we create an environment where individuals with autism can thrive. Samavesh, our residential campus, is designed for individuals with autism to live, learn, and grow with dignity and independence. It is more than just a place to stay. It is a space to belong. Manan, our training academy, prepares professionals to provide specialized care. Through structured programs, we equip individuals with the skills to support neurodivergent communities with confidence and compassion. Khoj, our research division, is dedicated to advancing our understanding of autism. Through data-driven studies and collaborative research, we work towards shaping the future of neurodiversity.
So Chhavi, we often hear about this UDID card, like you said, along with the disability certificate. So how do this UDID card and disability certificate, they align or they differ?
Okay, they do align. So the unique disability identity card is a single document of disability. So it is a identification for any disabled person. It is a card that is acceptable throughout the country. It is based on the information that is given in the disability certificate. So when I talk about the information, it includes a lot of details. Some of them are like the name of the disabled person. They get a unique code. Along with that, the date of issue of the card, the validity period, the type of disability. So there are three kinds of UDID cards. There's a white card, there's a yellow card and a blue card, depending on how much disability you have. So if you have a white card, you have less than 40% disability. If you have a yellow UDID card, then you have between 41 and 79% disability. And if you have the blue card, then it's at above 80% disability. Basically, the main reason why the UDID card is being issued is to create a unified database of all persons with disability in India, so as to provide more transparent, convenient, standardized process of applying for a disability certificate and this card, and to be able to access the various benefits that the government is providing without much hassle. So if you have that card, you are able to avail a lot of other benefits. You don't have to carry your certificate everywhere or your other documents everywhere. Everything is given in that card. So if I put it in a nutshell, the disability certificate is a proof of your disability, and the UDID card is like a national based way of availing these various benefits without having to carry the other documents of proof everywhere. You just have that card and it's hassle free.
Okay. So you said less than 40% disability, and you once mentioned that they do not get benefits. Is it true? Less than 40% they are not, having benefits because they too have disability, right? So even they have certain problems in adapting. So can you please?
Yes, I think you've got me right. Below 40%, or let's say individuals who have, usually the disability percentage ranges from 25 to 100%. So individuals who have, let's say, 25% disability, yes, they are not considered significant. It is not considered significant enough to be categorized as a benchmark disability, which is 40% and above. But however, despite being seen as a borderline disability, where it is a lot of research has also been done. It has been seen that these individuals are able to more or less function in their day-to-day activities. They are able to adjust to the societal roles. So when I mention this, it's of course important for the parents to know that if your child has 25% disability, with timely diagnosis, with regular treatment and training, you can really help your child, develop new adaptive skills or improve the adaptive skills. However, even though they do not get all the benefits, in 2022, the government has brought about a new instruction, a new protocol, where it states that despite what your percentage of disability is, if you have a UDID card, so that is if you have the white UDID card that is less than 40%, you can avail some of the benefits that are there, two which are very clearly stated. One is in many of their national institutes and their regional centers, the fee that is to be given for the registration, treatment, diagnosis, that is waived off. Also, certain course fee under these institutes can also be waived off if you have less than 40% disability. However, the other benefits, you are not eligible to avail those, because it is considered that through proper training and treatment, they will be able to adapt, adjust to their normal day-to-day societal roles.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
But it's good that, the government, they are getting some benefits.
Because they have subtle problems.
Absolutely.
That can be overlooked.
Absolutely.
That can't be overlooked.
So that is what they considered, and they have come up with this. And I'm sure that, as years pass, there will be some modifications and, further, appropriate benefits they will get. But I think this is a start. This is a start that they are being considered, they are being acknowledged. So this is a start, but very interesting. Yes.
So, Chhavi, a very important question that is often asked: what are the documents that are mandatory, for applying for a disability certificate?
Okay. The mandatory documents that are required, 2 of your recent colored photographs are required. For age proof, identity proof, Aadhaar card is the best, but you can always use other equivalent IDs. Along with that, your medical documents. That is, when we'll talk about the process, we'll understand, that you have to go through certain assessments. So all those medical records, reports also are required. If caste certificate is there, that is applicable. If you have income proof, that is also applicable. And if you're applying for a renewal of your disability certificate, then you have to also submit or upload to the website your last or the previous disability certificate. So these are some of the documents that are mandatory and very clearly written in the website. Very easy to understand. So if I missed out on something, you can just go on the website and one after the other, the list of documents are given.
It comes. So they have to upload those documents in the website, or they have to physically go somewhere and, submit those documents.
So both process is possible. The online service, like for any other process, it is more secured. It is more transparent. It's hassle-free, is easier. So it is always better to go for the online service, but of course, keeping in mind our rural population, individuals who don't have access or don't understand how to, access internet very well. For them, the offline process is also available. So if you're doing the online process, you have to fill up the form where you have to upload those documents. But if you're doing the online, you will have to go to the your district's chief medical officer's office. That is usually in a government hospital, where you will have to pick up the form as well as submit all those forms in that office. But in the online way, it's just uploaded in the website. It's more hassle-free.
And typically, how long does it take to get a disability certificate after applying?
Okay. So as per the website, when your disability certificate, after that the UDID card is dispatched, it will be sent to you by speed post. Within 90 days of dispatch, one can track the UDID card or the disability certificate through a unique consignment number that is given. However, no timeline is provided as to how long it will take for you to receive it. But till the time you wait for it, you can always download the electoral online card or the electoral UDID disability card through the website portal. That is something that you can download for your ready use. But the physical card, there is no timeline for it.
So for most parents and even for us, it is usually, we are curious as to how the percentage of disability is given, especially in neurodevelopmental conditions like autism, intellectual disability, specific learning disability.
Right. So there are a lot of people who are involved in this. It's like a step process, and we're all working together. So the process usually begins with the pediatrician, right? So usually children go for follow-ups to their pediatrician because they have developmental delays. They're walking late, they're talking late, they're having other delays. So usually the pediatrician is the first step in screening a child of having maybe autism or, let's say, intellectual disability. I'll talk about the SLD later. For these two, usually the pediatrician screens them. When they feel that, yes, there is a likelihood of autism spectrum disorder or intellectual disability, they are then sent to more specialized doctors or specialized mental health professionals. In India, they have to be RCI registered for them to assess and give the disability certificate. So it could be a clinical psychologist, it could be a child psychologist, it could be a special educator. For intellectual disability, a child will be assessed for their socio-adaptive functioning. We have a standardized test to do that. For intellectual functioning, we have other standardized tests. And on the basis of the scores or the social quotient or the intelligence quotient that we get via these assessments, a disability percentage is credited. Now, we follow a standardized criterion that is accepted in the whole of India, also universally. Following that, we give the disability percentage to the person. So this is for autism and intellectual disability. Now, specific learning disability, the first step is the school teacher. The school teachers need to screen the child for specific learning disability or SLD at age 8 years or class 3 years, whichever comes earlier. Once they feel that yes, they're having difficulties in mathematics, reading, writing, and they feel that they need to be assessed, by writing all of this and by requesting for an assessment in a letter, they can send their child along with their parents to, again, a specialized mental health professional. Again, child psychologist, clinical psychologist, and a special educator. We observe that how many standards below is the child performing in relation to their current class. Depending on that, the level of or the severity of learning disability is given along with the percentage of disability. After which, our job is done. Then comes to the medical board. Again, that is a different topic, but the main thing, the percentage, the disability percentage is given by the mental health professional by using standardized tests, by following a criterion for disability percentage. That is very, very important. And it is also very important for parents to know that, when they are going for it, they should receive a report. A lot of times they may go to a psychologist. They just say on the face that, you may have a disability, but they're not given any report. That does not work. Or just in a prescription, it is written that you have this, does not work. They need to have a report because that is one of the proof of disability, right? So the parent needs to know that assessment needs to be done and a report needs to be given to them. This is the process of getting a percentage for disability.
So, two questions arise in my mind, Chhavi. The first is, you mentioned about RCI registered professional. Can they practice individually and they can assess the person? Or they have to be attached with a government or some registered institutes or hospital?
Okay. So, when you are applying through the website or if you're following the process, your child will be sent to a government hospital. It's a part of the protocol. If you look at the website as well, the options that are given for treatment or assessment, they are your districts or your areas, government hospitals. So the government prefers if it is done through a government setup, because the medical board is also being held in a government hospital. Yes. It's preferable if you go for that. Now, this is a very tricky question that you've asked me, but there are individuals who are, working individually, or they are attached to institutes which are not RCI registered. But we all know that, if a person is coming for disability, because the medical board is going to be held there, we always give them this suggestion that, it would be easier for you, or it will be better for you if you go to a government hospital. But if they feel that, no, I would want to do it here, you can always do the assessment of a child when they are coming to you in a private setup. But it all depends on the medical board whether they want to accept that report or not. If they feel that it is not acceptable, they might ask you to go for a reassessment. So there's no hard and fast rule, or there's nothing wrong in, doing an assessment or going to but RCI registered psychologist is very important, because then the validity of the report is absolutely none. Medical board will definitely not accept it then. So whenever you are going, this is for the parents, when you're going for your assessment, it's very important to have a proof of the psychologist, that is our CRR number, or that is our registration number. That is very, very important to have. But it all depends on the medical board, whether they feel it's.
But this is a very important piece of information, like you mentioned, that for assessment, wherever the parents are taking to the child, they should definitely seek for an RCI registered psychologist. That is very essential.
Very, very.
Otherwise, the assessment will not be valid.
Yes, yes.
Chhavi, coming back to the to individuals or children, I'll say, IQ between 70 and 85. So we know less than 70 IQ, they have disability. It's done. Now, greater than 85, we know it's more or less normal. What happens to these children who are between 70 and 85 IQ? Because they even struggle, because their cognitive functioning is lower. These children, they visibly struggle in academics mainly. Other things, adaptive skills, they are able to manage. So what do you feel, Chhavi? Because you have seen this group of children as well.
Unfortunately, there are not a lot of benefits like we discussed. But yes, they do struggle with, slow cognitive functioning, difficulty in academics. Like I mentioned earlier, timely diagnosis, adequate and regular training does help. Now, there are a lot of schools who are inclusive schools. If we are able to, spread awareness to the teachers, to other students as well, about acceptance, about, giving peer support, about, helping them with an environment that is facilitating, they do function better than if they are in an environment which is, putting them down, or there is bullying. Unfortunately, that is something that is still being worked on, but it's improving. So these individuals do struggle a lot, but with proper, timely diagnosis and training, and with providing them with a facilitating environment, they can really benefit a lot. Because a lot of time these children, they struggle, but they are, labeled as being stupid or slow, or, you're doing it on purpose. It's not that you're not intelligent, you're being naughty, you're doing this to, irritate me. They usually have a lot of comorbidities, right? Like anxiety, depression, even conduct, oppositional defiance. So they are a group of children, they are the population that struggle a lot. So if we can provide them with that environment, and when I talk about environment, like I said, peer support is equally important. The children also need it. It's not just the responsibility of the adult, not just the parent, also the teachers, as well as the peer, because children do have empathy and compassion. It's just how you tap into it, right? If we can provide them with that awareness and, proper training, this group of children will flourish. It has been seen, it has been researched upon. Environment plays a huge role in their acceptance and how they perform.
So it is again, the earlier the intervention is taken, the better it is for especially this group. We know for other groups as well.
Because those symptoms are quite visible, right? But they usually fall into that blind spot. Ki hai, ki nahi bhi hai. Parents also have hope, right? That, with time, with age, it'll get better. My child will grow out of it. There's so much stigma attached to it. You're going to a therapist, you're going here, you're seeking help. For other individuals, for other children where signs are visible, it makes it a bit easier for the parent to accept. I'm not going to say it's very easy for them to accept, but it just becomes a bit easier because they can see that, my child needs this support. But what about them? Right? So there's so many factors involved in it that this group of children, they, like you mentioned, they struggle a lot. They do.
So for those watching us, please, if you like this conversation, if you feel that this conversation really matters, do not forget to like our podcast, share our podcast, and subscribe to our video channel. We are still clear about autism and ID. Like you said, there are protocol, there are testing, it needs to be done. Can you please tell us what is the criteria, what is the process in case of specific learning disability for getting a disability certificate?
Okay. First of all, the first step is, making the teachers aware, training them. They also require support. They are having to take care of 40, 45 plus students. And in the current generation where there's so much exposure to screen time, which exacerbates, learning difficulties, ADHD. It is difficult for teachers to also give one-to-one time to all their students. So if they are trained at their level, the timely diagnosis can be done, right? So it's all about getting them diagnosed at the right time. So what is the protocol? What is the criteria? First criteria is that child needs to be 8 years of age or studying in class 3, whichever comes earlier. So the teacher will assess if the child is having understanding the basic mathematical concepts, like as basic as addition, subtraction. Are they having problems with, are they having difficulties with problem solving? Are they having difficulty with calculations? But when they are talking to the child about non-academic areas and they are performing quite well, they seem to be very intelligent, because that's another criteria. A child needs to have 85 and above IQ for us to go to the next step, that is the specific learning disability assessment. So the teacher needs to assess the mathematical area. If the child is having poor spelling, if they're having difficulty holding the pen, if they're, having difficulty forming letters, if they are having difficulty understanding phonetics, if they're having difficulty in organizing their thoughts and expressing themselves through, verbal expression, written expression, if they're reading, one letter at a time and trying to form the word, right? There's so much. So if they are trained to it, the teacher will then speak to the principal, call in the parents, have a discussion, and suggest that you need to get the child assessed for specific learning disability. That is when they have to write a letter. The letter is important. If they are being sent from the school, requesting for an assessment, that they are noticing these problems, and an assessment is required. So after that, the assessment is done. All 3 domains are looked upon: reading, writing, mathematics, as well as other areas as well, about attention, because ADHD is a very close comorbidity with SLD, and having ADHD or inattention hyperactivity can really cause more struggles for a child. So even inattention part is also checked. Along with that, if examiner feels or a psychologist feels some other emotional, underlying emotional areas are also assessed. That does not play a part in the disability certificate, but that is also something that is assessed, because a lot of times if a child is having emotional problems, depression, anxiety, it is also likely to impact our ability to learn, ability to grasp concepts, ability to retain concepts, express them. So that is also something that needs to be kept in mind, that needs to be ruled out. So after the assessments are done, like I mentioned before, to how many grades below is the child performing in relation to their current class, the severity and the percentage of disability is given to them. After which the whole process is the same, that they need to upload this report on the website. I go to the CMO office and then the next step comes. So this is the, okay, one more thing I forgot. So along with having IQ of above 85, another thing that is important is a pediatrician needs to do a thorough neurodevelopmental, neurological assessment, that is including hearing and visual. So if a child is having any difficulty in their vision or hearing, then an SLD assessment, cannot be done, because as per the SLD assessment criteria, the child needs to have normal visual and hearing ability. So that's also another important thing that parents need to be aware of. So that is also another area they need to get assessed. Many a times that is often skipped, not made aware of. So that is also very, very important.
So, Chhavi, a very relevant question. If a person is having, or a child is having, two disabilities, multiple disabilities, then what is the norm? What is done for the disability certificate?
When they are coming to us for assessment, if there are two disabilities and maybe of different levels of disability, in the report we give both the disabilities. After that, we leave it to the medical board. They decide based on our reports, other medical records, what percentage of disability to give. But our job is to provide them with all opportunities that we'll give. It like it can happen that the child has mild intellectual disability and moderate level of autism. We will give both the disability percentages, and then we leave it to the medical board for them to decide whether they are going to consider the moderate autism disability or the intellect. Usually the higher level disability is taken.
So we usually hear people, it is easier for them to get a disability certificate for intellectual disability, for autism. But we get to know about many parents or students who share harassing stories, like their hassles, their struggle in getting a disability certificate. What's your take on it?
That is absolutely true. That is something that is a truth behind this process. Definitely there has been an increase in awareness, and that's great. We're all working together to provide them with timely service, and so that they are able to get their disability certificate and they can apply for a UDID card. Unfortunately, at a very basic level, there's a lack of awareness. I mean, not many, they don't have a lot of access, immediate access to this information. However, when they're going to a pediatrician, they're being notified of this and they're being, made aware of the process. So what happens is that it's taking them time to know about it. That's one. Then we don't have a lot of mental health professionals, trained mental health professionals who are able to provide this service. Not many institutes, not many mental health professionals in those institutes who can provide this service. Often we are, overworked. Often we experience burnout ourselves. In government hospitals, daily more than 500, 700 cases come. Not all of them are for disability certificate, but they do come. And as we have limited individuals, limited resources, we're not being able to see more than, let's say, 10 a day. We can always be pressurized to see 50 in a day, but then what about the quality of service that we're providing, right? That would be so unethical. So the hassles are one of this, that, they have to wait for a long period of time. They may not get the right information at the right time. They might go to this single office multiple times. They're being said that, ekhane jaan, ekhane hobe na, 2 মাস পরে আসুন, এখানে কেউ নেই, right now nobody's there to help you. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth, because we lack resources. So there is a delay in the assessment, then there is a delay in medical board, and there's a delay in dispatch of the disability certificate and then the UDID card. So it's a lack of awareness, but that is definitely improving. However, whenever they are being sent to the institute, a lot of districts, institute hospitals in the district level, they also don't always have, again, people to cater to them, the tools to cater to them. So they're sent to the higher level institutes. Again, it's the same. Tools are there for sure, people. How do we cater to them? How do we provide quality service? As a result of which they're having to suffer. It's a tedious and a challenging process, but once they get their certification and they know what benefits they get, so that is also something, a part of psycho-education that we give when we are giving them the report. We tell them that, our job is done, but when you go get the disability certificate, it's going to give you a lot of benefits. Be patient. Keep doing the process, because when individuals come for renewal of certification, there is this hope in them that, because they've seen that so many benefits are there. They know that, they will be able to avail it further. And if you're 18 years old, then it becomes a permanent disability certificate. So then you don't need to change it again and again. You don't need to go for reassessments. So they know that, they are going to be provided with the benefits. The government is doing something. So we see the difference in the parents' approach. When they're coming for the first time, they are very clueless. They are quite intimidated by the process. But when they're coming for the renewal, we know that, even though the hardship is there, they have gotten the benefits and they are going to get it again. So they're really willing to wait and come for the assessment. So that is something remarkable that we see in parents. Such courage, such resilience. I think it's commendable. So that is something that I want the parents to listen to, and I hope this motivates and encourages them. Even though it's a challenging process, but when you get it, there are benefits that you can avail through this certification. And we have seen it firsthand from having a conversation with those parents who are coming for the renewal.
And what is your experience with them? If you can share, the parents, when they come and when they share,
Like I said, it's remarkable. I mean, first of all, having your child, living like that, they are constantly worried about, what happens when we are no longer there. I mean, that is, I think, one of the worst fears that a parent can have. So when there is a hope that, my child is going to have a secured future. Yes, a child who does not have these disabilities, they have more opportunities, or they can, like we say, they can make their own future. But for them, they have to depend on others. So to be able to have those benefits available for them, to know that, if we are not there, if we can help them get these support, so that it just becomes rolling. Like 18 years ke baad, it's like a rolling thing that, they can keep availing it. Also, the support that the parents get, I think that hope makes them want to fight further, to do better for their children. So they also are more open to the idea of intervention. They feel more motivated. Again, hope that, yes, the intervention is worth it. We will do more. We will sacrifice. I'll have to say sacrifice, because they have to sacrifice a lot. We will sacrifice more in order to get them better, because they know that the future is secured, but now they can do extra to improve their life. So the disability certificate, or the handicap card, the UDID card, disability card, ensures a certain level of benefits and security, following which they can just do better. Sacrifice. Their sacrifice is meaning something. It's worth it. They get that motivation. They want to come, and let me tell you, they come every month. We see parents coming from far behind, far away. They're spending the night in the hospital because they want to do better for their child, to have a better life for their child. They trust us. They believe in us. So even though it is sometimes, it's a bittersweet experience, I will say. I would say it's a very bittersweet experience. There's so much we also learn from them, how much sacrifice a parent can do. So it's a bittersweet experience, definitely.
So Chhavi, this session, this discussion, it has been really very insightful. I'm very sure that parents and we really got some facts which we were not aware of. Since you are working on the ground, you know of these facts, and you gave such clarity in this discussion. So thank you for being with us, Chhavi. It was really, really very meaningful, very insightful. And I'm very sure the parents watching there, they are also benefited, and they can also relate with what you have said.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pooja, for having me. It's been my honor to talk about this, because definitely disability certification, it's when the parents come to us, especially from the rural background, they don't even have an idea that their disability certificate is something that can be provided to them. So when we talk to them, when we tell them, a lot of time, they come to us at the age of 20, 25, they get their, child who may be, severely disabled. And we ask them, do you have a handicap certificate? And they're like, amra to jani na eta ki. Paramik to bolben. And then we just realized that, so much help could have been given to them at a very earlier stage. But we feel privileged to be able to impart this information and guidance to them. So all those parents who are listening, and as parents also, they can help other parents. I mean, it's all about community oneness, community service. So, seeking help is so important for us. So I think this has been a privilege for me to talk about this, and I hope we help each other. It doesn't need to it not need to be that you have to help someone. I have to. It can. This is a very basic thing that we can help each other out with. So thank you for having me. Thank you.
To the parents watching there, if you find this discussion meaningful to you, relevant to you, please do like our podcast and share our videos. Until the next video comes, do watch the video that is popping up on your screen. Thank you so much for your patient listening.